welcome to this week's episode of Cooking with Connie. Just so you know, we do have some guests in the background, so you might hear a little extra noise with our kiddos that are hanging around. But this week is a much awaited thing. Over Easter, I created a Samoa cheesecake, and a lot of people said, are you going to put it on Cooking with Connie? Well, we're bringing it this week. We're going to do our Samoa cheesecake. So to start with, I'm using my monk fruit allulose. I've got 2 tablespoons of that in my pan here that we're going to start heating up. I've also got my coconut, and I've got 2 bags of coconut that we're going to go ahead and start toasting that. So I'm going to put that in the oven while we're cooking up the caramel sauce to make the crust here. So just going to put it at 350, and it's going to take probably about 10 minutes usually on that. Now, one thing that I've kind of learned is I've made this caramel sauce a few times now. I have started doing, heating up that monk fruit allulose and getting that melted before I add my butter, and it seems that it cooks a little quicker if I do that. So that's what I've got here, just my 2 tablespoons. Then we're going to add a stick of butter, and then we're also going to add a ½ a cup of heavy whipping cream. So while that's preparing, we'll take a little break, and then we'll come back once this gets done. Okay guys, so we've got our caramel sauce made, we've got our toasted coconut, and I just used the Great Value organic coconut, and it's unsweetened, so you want to make sure you do unsweetened. I make it a half batch today, but the recipe you have will be for a full cheesecake because we've already got one prepared to top it. This is a process. Anyway, so I've lined that with parchment paper and then put my springform pan over it. That way it'll be easy to just remove it off of the thing. I found that that's the easiest way to do that. So what we're going to do is we're going to start throwing things in this bowl over here to make our crust. So I'm going to take about a cup of this toasted coconut. And then we have in the NutriBullet crumbled up the box of the Sweet Thins, honey cinnamon. Okay, so I put the Simple Mills graham cracker comes in there. We're going to pour in our caramel sauce. I'm going to start stirring that up, kind of see where I'm at on my consistency. And then we're going to add some sugar-free sweetened condensed milk, which is also already on the website, but I will add it to this recipe. And so the recipe will actually be in the comment section. All right, so this is my sugar-free sweetened condensed milk that I went ahead and made up last night. So we'll put some of that in there. I did about a ½ a cup. But this is going to be our crust. We tried, when we made this for Easter, I tried to put the cookie part on top. Well, the only problem with that is the cookie was a little hard to cut through and we kind of smashed our cheesecake. So then that's why we decided we would do the Samoa cookie on the bottom. So I'm going to put that in my pan here. And this is one you don't need to bake this crust. We're just going to put the cheesecake right on top of this. So we'll go from there. Okay, I've got that in the bottom. And then we'll take just a short break and we'll start processing the cheesecake part to go on top of it. All right, guys, we're back, and we are going to start with 2 packages of cream cheese in here, and then I'm going to put a cup of my monk fruit allulose in. Okay. We're going to go ahead and start blending that. This is a pretty simple, basic cheesecake recipe, but we're going to add some coconut and coconut flavor to it. To kind of get that coconut throughout the recipe. So it's going to take 2 eggs. And this is the small recipe. Like I said, the one I'm going to give you guys on the website will be for a full-size cheesecake, so it'll be doubled. We're going to do a teaspoon of vanilla. We're going to go ahead and keep whipping this up, and then we'll be back and start adding the coconut part of it once it gets ready. Okay guys, we're back. We've got this whipped to where it's nice and creamy. When it starts whipping up pretty good, take a spatula and really clean around it to kind of get all the chunky cream cheese back in there so that you get a nice creamy consistency. I'm going to put a cup of the toasted coconut in there. And then we're going to use just a little bit of coconut extract, about a half a tablespoon, to give the batter kind of that coconutty flavor without just the coconut. Then once we get this whipped up, which won't be much longer, then we'll get that poured into here. We're going to put it on a baking sheet, put a little bit of water around it. That's why I put the foil up around this, because we're going to put this in a water bath. It cooks a little bit more consistently when you do that with your cheesecakes. So let me go ahead and shut that off. Beaters off just a little bit so we don't dribble all over the place. Okay, so now we're going to pour this in here. Want to just make sure you kind of get that evened out, kind of like you do when you do a cake. Okay, and then we've got this oven on 350 degrees. We're going to pop that in there. It's going to take at least an hour to cook this. When you're doing the big one, it's probably going to be more like an hour and 30 minutes, but we'll kind of let you look and see what it looks like when it gets done, so you know what to anticipate and what to look for. Okay guys, so here is our finished cheesecake, which I have made in advance, because with the cheesecake you're really going to have to plan ahead, because you're going to need to set up minimum of 24 hours in the refrigerator before you start putting the toppings on it. So I cooked up another batch of our sugar-free caramel sauce, and then I added the coconut, toasted coconut to it, to where it's just kind of a lightly carameled coconut here. So this is what you want this to look like. This is what we're going to put on top of our cheesecake. So we'll just kind of sprinkle that over the top of the cheesecake. And then we're going to drizzle with a little of the caramel or the chocolate sauce. Now my chocolate sauce, I kind of have this standard recipe, and what I do is I do equal parts of milk chocolate and dark chocolate and natural peanut butter. So, you know, a half a cup of each one of those and melt it. And then if you put it in your squeeze bottle, then you're going to be able to do the little design on top here. So, and that's a really good flavor. If you don't, if you don't have the dark chocolate sugar-free chips and you just have the milk chocolate, then just use the milk chocolate and the peanut butter. That's fine too. All right, look at that. All right, so we're gonna kind of put our stripes like we would on a Samoa cookie. All right, we're going to come back and we'll have sliced into this. All right, guys, here is our delicious sugar-free, gluten-free Samoa cheesecake. Remember, we got a Samoa cookie crust. We have a coconut cheesecake, and then we've topped it with toasted caramel coconut, and then drizzled it with sugar-free chocolate. So look how yummy that looks. So if you want more of these types of recipes, don't forget, check out Cooking with Connie. Like, share, subscribe, and remember this week, make good choices.